Thank you so much.
Yep, thanks, Jody.
Okay, so welcome, everybody. Good to see you, Pat. We can all participate.
Yay.
Yay.
Legally,
Yeah,
because we don't have Ronnie, right?
right. So,
I don't really need this. Sorry, I don't have any papers with me. I don't have anything.
do
I
you
just
want
came
some
from putting
paper?
out fabric at the quilting center. Just
that's so,
meeting minutes or whatever, or the agenda.
yeah.
Yeah, or unless you have
So
it online.
we've got Lynn, Pat, and Pat's on Zoom. Pat Gillespie, trustee, Lynn Leopold, Board of Zoning Appeals and the Water Resource Council, and Kathy Yen. So were there any additional changes or items you wanted to add?
Nothing
Pat? Okay.
Also,
And were the corrected minutes okay? No
Yes.
additional corrections or changes?
No,
Okay. So we can,
whoever takes minutes does a really good job.
huh?
Whoever takes minutes does a
Oh,
really good job.
I took the minutes.
You took the minutes, well,
Yeah,
it's all
but
covered.
Ronnie, you did see the part where Ronnie did add the, how we're going to handle the trustee. Basically, we'll just decide,
Who gets to come
yeah.
on,
Well,
rotate or
Who
something.
actually is observing
Okay,
versus participating.
participating. How do we do that? Do you just say I'm observing and don't vote? Is that, how does
You
that
just
work?
say you're observing, just like when we observe the planning board and the trustee meetings, so you can be in the audience.
Okay,
just
but you're
like-
not voting on anything.
But you're not voting on anything. And I I copied you guys on an email to Natalie about that.
Yeah.
Are we providing a government function and does it apply? And do we need to do anything with the resolution at the organizational meeting or not?
What did she say?
I haven't heard back.
Oh, okay.
I haven't gotten a
Yeah,
response.
that's a good question, though.
So with the reports and updates, Chris from Cooperative Extension, the liaison,
Kriskowski? Is that Skowski? Yeah.
had already mentioned he wouldn't be able to be here. And Jerry's,
The gentleman from Cornell Cooperative Extension should be joining you soon.
oh, okay.
He said you didn't send
Is
it.
that Jerry?
Huh?
Is it Jerry? Yeah, it's probably Jerry.
So he has the link now?
I just sent him the
Thank
link.
you.
Okay,
So you should be trying to get in.
Okay,
you can let
Yeah.
him in when he gets,
there he is.
oh, good. Jerry?
Hi, Jerry.
We see you.
Hi.
Hi, Jerry.
You're muted. How are you?
Now we can hear you.
yeah, doing well. Sorry, I couldn't find the link for some reason.
They
Well,
have a way of disappearing.
I'm glad you have it. I wasn't sure if it was a recurring link or a new link every time, so Jody just resent it to you, so I'm glad you got it and you got in. So we just went through the minutes that you should have received and the agenda you got. And were there any other items that you wanted to add to that, or?
Yeah, actually, so I spoke with the new coordinator who'll be working with the communities in Tompkins. So I have a small update about that, but other than that, the agenda looks good.
Well, we're right at that point because we were just at the start of reports and updates on the agenda, so it's perfect timing. Go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, so your new Climate Smart Communities coordinator will be Ashley Siegfried. She'll be she works with Southern Tier 8 Regional Planning Board. So she'll be overseeing the Climate Smart Communities program in this county.
Ashley
Um,
Siegfried.
Yep. I'll send out an email to everyone as an introduction and CC her onto that. She's expecting to start at the end of the summer just because she's applying for grants with her current communities through the CFAs as well.
Okay.
But once that's done at the end of the summer, she's going to be full swing right into CSC work. So we're going to catch her up. Well, I'll catch her up And then she'll be ready to work with the village.
So are you available till she takes over?
Yep.
Oh, you are?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Where is she located, Jerry?
She works in Binghamton,
Okay,
in Broome County.
okay.
So it's Ashley, Ashley. What's her last name?
Siegfried?
Yeah, let me find that actually. I don't actually know how to spell it.
Fried.
Seyfried. Seyfried.
Oh,
Sried?
IED, Seyfried.
Oh,
It's like Siegfried.
okay. And she's based in Binghamton.
Yep.
Said that Southern
Should be
Tier
Regional?
Regional Planning?
Southern Tier 8 Regional Planning Board. Yep.
Okay.
Southern Tier 8?
What was the Southern Tier, what came after Southern Tier?
Regional Planning Board.
Oh, just Southern Tier Regional Planning Board. Okay.
I thought I heard something else in there.
Well, I heard, I said 8. It's 8 for the 8 Southern Tier counties. So it's ST8.
Oh, that's the count, okay.
Hey, all right.
Southern Tier, number 8.
Yep.
Got it. So I'm glad you're going to be here for July and August.
hmm
And
And
then
I'll
start in September probably. So will you be there for that transition?
I'll be there for the transition. I have flexible funding through the end of the year. The reason why I didn't want to take on any of the extra like CSC upcoming CSC responsibilities is because I didn't want to step on their toes since they have the
Uh-huh.
contract.
Okay.
But I'll still be attending these meetings. And we're trying to find funding to help municipalities that need a capacity to apply for grants and manage them. So that's in the works. But we're uncertain, right? Because we're requesting funding, but we haven't gotten it yet.
Okay. And then in terms of the Clean Energy Fund use, was there any follow-up on that in terms of examples? I know that bike racks and solar and a sidewalk, any further updates that you're aware of on that?
I'm not aware of anything. I can ask Chris later. I know Chris was asked to do that. What was there? Because I know the last time he also pitched having like some sort of um like request for projects so that you can fund some local projects that people are interested in.
Right.
Um,
And so there were a few more questions on how one actually sets that up
mhm.
also.
Okay. I can make a note of that and talk to Chris right after this meeting.
Right, so
Um,
that's kind of like a mini community grant
mhm.
fund that could fund some small projects. So
Right.
some examples of what smaller villages have done with that would
Mhm.
be helpful.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, super. Um, So the next thing was the certification, and I did see the bronze certification,
Mhm.
and Ronnie did send out, I guess that was unofficial, or
Yeah,
is,
it was unofficial, but we can say it at the meeting. We just can't share it with the general public
okay,
yet. Yeah.
so unofficial,
Is that embargoed until a certain time, or when do
Yeah,
we?
yeah. So so it's official that DEC has awarded the bronze certification for the village.
Okay,
It will be it's basically an embargo, yeah. You won't be able to announce anything to or put anything on your website publicly until they release it publicly. So what
okay.
they do is every quarter, I believe, when they have these deadlines, they release a press release to announce all the communities in the state that have reached a certain threshold for bronze or silver.
So
Um,
would that
yeah.
be this quarter in the middle of summer or not until fall?
It might not be until the fall just because I know they're pretty busy.
Okay.
But if that's something you want me to double check, I can definitely do
No,
that as
no, there's no rush. I mean, it
yeah.
just would be
well. Okay.
nice to know when we can start blowing our horn.
Yeah, it should be this sometime towards the end of the year though.
Okay.
So probably after all the grant wave.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so thank you for that. Now, in terms of the grants program, there had been some discussion about shovel-ready
Hmm.
projects and what could or could not be applied for, depending on the stage, for example, sidewalks.
Hmm.
And the other was the stormwater mapping and ditch networking.
Yep.
So can you clarify that just a little bit in terms of
Yeah.
where you are in the process? I mean, where
Stormwater
the
stuff.
village would be in the process of, if it's already budgeted, then it's not.
We were waiting on Ronnie to talk to the DPW guys, and I think Ronnie's on vacation right now. I don't know if anyone else got the update from him. Um, but I didn't get an update. All I know is that you guys are still interested in the project. It doesn't, so shovel ready for the sidewalks project through the CFAs, it doesn't require any like prior studies or something or declarations. But it just requires some general information about why the village wants to do it and what the benefits to like the
So
environment is, like, right, reduce vehicle miles, right, things like that.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
okay, yeah.
it's all
Yeah,
part
so
of.
that there's nothing substantially difficult to do for that in terms of like getting it quote unquote shovel ready. We were just waiting to see whether or not the village wanted to apply for it this year because you guys have already committed out a sidewalks budget. Um, which if the village starts on the project before the contracts start next year, then you guys would not be able to get reimbursed for that. But if there is a sidewalks project that you guys already have in mind for the following year, you could apply for it now,
Hmm.
and then you'd be awarded that budget next year in like the spring, I believe, is the contract like language says.
So, so
27
if
then.
so 2026, so we could apply for a 2026, 27 project.
Yes. So if you applied this year, you could apply for a 2026 2027 project.
Okay, so as long as it hasn't gone out to bid and there's no contract signed yet?
I believe so. As long as your sidewalks project had not have begun before the award has been given out.
Does that include any engineering that goes in, preliminary engineering? I mean, any money spent on it whatsoever? Is that
Yep.
how that works? Yeah, so it has to be a plan, but it's on our calendar and that's something John Carney would know, because it's part of your
So
overall.
no money dispersed
Yeah.
yet?
Because you
Well,
don't-
you can do some of the preliminary planning and stuff. You just won't get reimbursed for it.
Yeah, right. I knew that. That's true of all the state grants. I think you can't do any work in advance before you're awarded the grant, because you can't.
Right.
You can't
Retro.
back charge the state for what you've already spent.
Mm.
Yeah, well, that's
And-
good to know.
Yeah. And then in terms of what you could use for a match, I signed up for the webinar
Mhm.
for that. And are you available to help guide us through that?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh,
webinar?
excellent. I believe I wrote it down, I believe it's the 14th. It's a Monday.
July?
Yeah, July,
During the day?
yes.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah, and if this is something the village wants to move forward with, I already have information from like the person that we work with at Cinch New York who has done this already.
Oh, good.
So I have initial instructions of what kind of information to gather, if
Okay.
that's helpful, and then
That would be very helpful, so we can get a
yeah.
head start.
Yeah. And then I would be able to help you guys through the entire process. I can draft material for you. I just can't submit it on your behalf because that's just not, we can't do that.
Right, no,
ICC.
we got that. We've got Ronnie to do the submission, so. Okay, Pat, did you have questions?
No,
Okay.
we haven't heard from Ronnie yet, whether he's heard
We
from
haven't,
John.
no, right.
Heard from
Last we heard is,
Ronnie?
We haven't
Yeah.
heard back from Ronnie.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's away,
yeah,
yeah.
I guess.
And there was some mention of landscaping equipment, as well as the mini grant, as well as the bike racks, et cetera, for the.
Landscaping equipment, meaning what, like electric mower or something? I mean.
Yeah, but then there was no follow-up on that we
Yeah,
could
yeah.
yet. Okay,
Yeah, the funds that you guys have already from CEC could be used for electric landscaping equipment if you guys want it.
any questions?
Yep. And then we had the other thing with stormwater. So the village would for the grant that we were looking at would have to have done a feasibility study already. So that initial green resiliency infrastructure grant we can't go for this year. But what we're thinking is that if this is of interest and we have a specific like project in mind, we could actually go out for the feasibility study this year and then have the feasibility done before next year for the when the new iteration of the green resilience grants comes out again.
Can I just ask a really ignorant question? Forgive my ignorance, but why is stormwater being considered as part of, I mean, I understand it as part of climate resilience.
Mm-hmm.
It's not saving energy particularly.
No, this
It
is
doesn't have a carbon aspect, it's just water control.
Right.
there's no this grant is separate from CEC. This is
Yeah.
CSC work, so this is around resiliency. Yeah, this is mostly because so the reason why we're kind of focusing on it now is because a lot of the money that's going into the state is for climate adaptation.
Right, so it's
and
really a
stormwater.
different pot of money with different requirements, because
Right.
there's
It's
just all this
not-
crossover. I mean, we already do a lot of stuff with stormwater, and all the requirements for stormwater at the state level. I mean, that's one of the hats
Yeah.
that Mike has to wear as the stormwater officer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just was
Yeah,
curious.
so
Okay.
this grant is for like bioretention ponds.
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah, yep.
I mean, it all ties into a lot of things that might be positive unintended consequences, including our TMDL designation, yeah, all that stuff having to do with the lake.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping water on the ground as long as possible before it heads anywhere into a receiving stream.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't do a great job of that. Yeah.
It's difficult. Yeah, there's a lot
Well,
of
it's
different
hard in this
components.
landscape. It's really hard in this landscape.
Yeah.
Everything is stone and it heads straight to the lake and it's steep. And yeah, it's hard to engineer enough retention space to keep stormwater on the ground infiltrating as opposed to running somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're still dealing with sort of our old attitude, which is to try to trench it, ditch it, get it off the ground as fast as possible, get it to the lake or wherever and get it away from us. But that is not what we do now.
Yeah.
It's quite the opposite.
So it needs to be a kind of a comprehensive
It does.
connecting system where you're actually slowing it down, so you get that groundwater infiltration, you get your aquifers
Right.
restored.
And
And that's a expensive project. Yeah.
No, it's
very
very
expensive.
expensive.
I mean, it means, from a planning board perspective and from our code, every new development of a certain size might be required at some point to have some kind of infiltration basin as opposed to just a lawn and downspouts on the house. You might end up having to put in some kind of a rain garden. Some communities do that. I don't know if they're required, but, new construction, you just can't have a flat surface planted in grass. It's going to run off. It doesn't, grass does a lousy job of stopping rainwater.
So just to get everyone's feedback here with initiating the sidewalk,
Yeah.
you would be,
We must have a long-term plan for sidewalks. We have a long-term plan for road maintenance. So because I don't see it, I'm assuming that John has a long-term installation maintenance plan for sidewalks. I mean, we're still putting sidewalks in the
Right.
village.
right.
We're not at the point where we have sidewalks everywhere.
So some of it is budgeted, some of it is, we'd really like to do it,
Yeah, but it hasn't happened.
but it hasn't happened.
Because there's so much involved. I mean, there's
So-
right-of-way and all that sort of
Right.
stuff. Yeah.
So what are your thoughts, Pat?
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know John's got a plan. I think I heard that there was a delay on one of the two projects for the summer. I'm not sure which one, I don't remember. That would help with
We'll just follow up and clarify with him.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
right?
And then the climate adaptation and resilience planning. That would be, that, you had a great write-up, Jerry, for the town board, the Town Conservation Advisory Council, where you broke down the climate adaptation resilience planning steps in the process.
Mm.
So,
Yeah,
If-
and that's
Go
so
ahead.
my question is whether or not that wants you guys want that to kind of be a back burner focus, because you do have the new coordinator coming in. I believe she already is working on a plan for a community that they're have in another region. But they're there to help. So once that first plan is done, they'll be more free to do this plan with other communities. And with the reason why I'm asking whether or not this is a consideration is because you guys look like you want to apply for several grants. And I know it's
You broke,
Froze.
you froze, Jerry.
We all
We
fro-
can't
no.
hear you.
It's just Jerry that froze.
Yeah.
Let's just wait a sec. Sometimes these things unsnag. The gremlins in Zoom.
So Jerry, you're frozen and we're not able to hear you.
We may be frozen to him too, you know, sometimes that happens.
Okay.
Hear us.
I'll go ahead and read what Jerry
Yeah,
did
do.
communicate,
Yeah.
if that's okay.
Just for
And
the
with his
record.
permission, I'll just have him send it on. Climate change adaptation and resilient planning overview, and Jerry Sheng from Cornell Cooperative Extension
We just
did
lost him.
share that with us, with the Town Conservation Advisory Council, the Town of Lansing.
Okay.
So a climate change adaptation and resilience plan helps communities identify climate change impact, present and future, by analyzing vulnerabilities in the community in order to adopt and implement strategies for changing climate. Communities that implement adaptation resilience strategies can build their adaptive capacity to mitigate economic, environmental, and social risks and take advantage of opportunities resulting from climate change. So the plan would identify projects and find potential funding sources to implement
He's back.
findings.
You need to let him in.
Oh, thank you. You can tell I'm not very techy.
All right, it just popped up. He should pop in. It always takes a minute. There he is.
Hi, sorry about that. Our office internet just went out for like
Oh,
literally a minute. Yeah, I was talking to myself for probably a minute before I realized I was talking.
You like the sound of your own voice. We know.
Yeah. How much of that did you get? What was the last thing I said?
I was complimenting you on the very brief one-page summary you provided to the Town of Lansing Conservation Advisory Council, the meeting that I sat in on.
Right.
And I started to actually read it to the group.
Hmm. Yeah, oh, yeah, if you want to continue that, that's fine. I think my point, what I was talking about was having that as kind of a back burner project because the coordinator that you'll be working with is already doing a plan. And once
Okay.
that's over, they'll have more free time for other communities. But also because the village is applying for several grants, it looks like you guys want to apply for a stormwater grant and the sidewalks grant, right? That's going to be a lot of work in of itself, and so um, it might be worth considering having the CARP as a sort of plan for the future. But that's entirely up to you guys, right? I don't know what your capacities look like. Uh,
Because there are some things that we could potentially do, and right now, there's nothing formal with the town as to whether or not they want to collaborate. We've just sort of informally said, is
Sounds
there
like a
any
good idea.
interest there?
right, yeah. And we've been trying to reach Ruth, who's the town of Lansing supervisor, and she hasn't really gotten back to anyone. So we'll see what happens there.
So, and the council's not even meeting in July, so this would be something that would be more toward fall or later, depending. But the steps you outlined are good in terms of a vulnerability assessment would be useful, and the tools are available through DEC.
Mhm.
Okay. And then even if it's a tabletop simulation of a multiple hazard scenario at the Finger Lakes Independence Center, the Tompkins County Core Advisory Group, Sue Ruff from a neighboring county described their scenarios, emergency planning scenarios,
What did
where
she
they
suggest?
had multiple things happen, everything from chemical exposure to accidents, collisions that involved all of the county departments.
We have an emergency management system in the county
Right.
that simulates that maybe every couple of years.
Yeah, that we have an airport.
At the airport
crash.
thing, we have a crash or a disaster of some kind
Yeah.
that they simulate every year, or not every year, but it does involve everybody in the county.
So there's the initial scenario, two scenario workshops that she described. One was more of a planning, sitting around, what would you do, and anticipatory versus the actual event.
Were these seminars that she'd already attended, or they're coming
She
up?
was involved in.
Oh, she was involved in them.
So, sorry, I cut you off, Jerry.
No, you're fine. That was all I had to say. I mean, it's just a consideration, right, with everything going on.
Okay. And then the next thing is the comprehensive plan feedback. I don't know, for the sustainability elements, you did provide some feedback on that. And Pat and Lynn, have you seen, Carolyn made the draft plan available to the trustees?
I
and
don't
to the
think I
boards?
looked at it, I'm sorry, I
I
didn't get,
haven't had a chance to. I got that while I was on vacation.
me
Okay.
too, I was away, that's one
So-
excuse, but
so-
I'll go look at that.
I was also on vacation, so
So did Carolyn
It's that
send it
time of
around?
year.
Did she
Yeah,
CC all of us?
she sent the link to the, she did send the link to everybody, so.
Okay, then-
Everybody can access the draft plan. It's a Google Doc, so you can put in your suggested edits and comments that the group would
Yeah.
then discuss.
Anyway, I'm sure she sent it to me and it just slipped away in my, yeah, here it is. Sustainability. Oh, today. Oh, that's a schedule update. Okay.
So, and Jerry, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Climate Smart Communities Certification Action Checklist,
Mhm.
the policy elements, those 10 policy elements,
Yep.
sort of, they encompass and include the smart growth planning principles as well, those 10 principles, it looks like, when I look at policy
Yeah.
6, because the climate smart land use principles, policies and regulations look like they're a subset of the overall climate smart communities.
Yes, sorry, were you asking whether or not the smart growth policies are encompassed within the comprehensive plan action? Is that what you're asking? Yeah.
The smart growth is in the comprehensive plan. What I think we need to insert is the climate smart communities, 10 elements incorporate or include the smart growth
Policies, yep.
land
They're
use
they're
policy.
pretty much one and the same, I want to say. They're for the most part, I believe they're actually just one across to each other.
Yeah, I was looking at, if, if you guys, I don't know, Pat, you're new to this, but Lynn, if you go to the checklist, the CSC action checklist on the climate smart communities,
On the website?
yeah.
On the village
So
website.
on the Village Home website, right on, at the bottom, underneath the emergency, that red box, there's one that says climate smart communities. And if you click on CSC, you should get the link to the CSC website. Then you'll see the CSC resolution, then the charter. And then the actions, there's an action checklist that lists the policy elements. So the first one is climate smart communities, the second is inventory emissions goals and plan for climate action, the third is energy use, decrease energy use, the fourth is shift to clean renewable energy, the fifth is material management, climate smart material management. There are a whole list of actions under that. The sixth is climate smart land use, and that would be the smart growth component. So that's the comprehensive plan and sustainability elements. So if you could focus on that when you look through the draft comprehensive plan update and make comments on that, that I think would be really helpful. And PE 6.2 says it incorporates the smart growth principles into the land use policies. And that would be things like mixed use, housing choice, infill redevelopment, public spaces, kind of nodal compact design, multimodal transportation, which is a priority in our village, climate resilient and adaptation, primarily nature-based priority. Let's see, kind of a village aesthetics, an image, and then collaboration and inclusion.
Village aesthetics, that's one you could drive a truck through. What do they mean by that? More trees? How we look,
I
but,
guess a less industrial look, and
well, we're trying, but, you know.
so I think we've done a lot of things with the tree law, with updating FEMA maps. So are those things that we can also submit the updated flood control FEMA map updates?
Sorry, one more time. You're asking if you can submit the FEMA maps as
Yeah.
part of a CSC action?
Yeah, the updated code, okay, so that would be an action. And then in terms of our charter and our resolution, so the resolution was 2019, where we adopted the New York Climate Smart Pledge with those 10 elements. Would it be probably advisable to just reaffirm that pledge?
No. So
Don't
once
have to.
you don't have to. Once you start the program, you can pause and restart as however you'd wish, or if you're continuing, you don't have to. Yeah, no
So-
matter what, basically, you don't have to reaffirm the pledges.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you. I wasn't sure if we had to do that on an annual basis or not.
No.
No. Oh, good. Okay. How about the charter? It was revised in the past and updated. The last I could find was 7/23/2020.
What's this charter referring to?
Okay, so it's context, so why it was established, the objectives, and it looks like some of the objectives we could go through and update. And then deliverables, membership.
Like task force members,
Yeah.
what their roles are. That might need to be updated. It doesn't need to be updated anytime soon, just because once you're certified for, I believe, 5 years.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
So you won't have to change that before that 5 years is up. But if you wanted to get that out of the way now, you could.
maybe we'll want to, because we
Yeah.
have changed the committee makeup.
Right.
And it's been, if we didn't do this, did we do this in 19 or 20?
2020.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
that's
so-
5 years.
Yeah, so we.
Well, it was,
Might want it.
yeah.
We
Your
might want,
certification will last 5 years though, so you won't have to renew that until
Again.
next year.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay,
So Pat, can you find the charter
on the website?
on the web? It's, so on that page, HTTPS, vlansing.org/climate-smart-communities.
There.
Do you mind going through it now?
I'm going to look, yeah.
Okay.
Task Force Charter,
I'm sorry?
the Task Force Charter.
Uh-huh. And that's something that we could perhaps do, and I want to get your advice too on liaisons and is maximum number of members. Is there any maximum?
There's no maximum, there's no minimum either, other than having a chair, and having members who are representative of like the groups you're representing, right?
So
Yeah,
plan.
no, there's no limitation on how many members you would have. My only caution with that is obviously when a group gets too large, it is kind of hard to get through a bunch
Cumbersome,
of things.
Kind of
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
cell, everything starts to break down.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I don't foresee that being much of an issue.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you guys wanted to expand the task force, you can certainly do that. I would actually encourage it because you can get some more perspectives in on it.
Okay,
Yeah, and it could be anyone, right? You could be just a village residence, or you could be someone who's on one of the boards or
Okay, so we're looking for the charter.
and then, so here, you want to just look on with me?
Yeah,
All right. So right now, the Village of Lansing Climate Smart Communities Task Force was established to evaluate the New York State CSC program action steps and to recommend what action steps would be beneficial and practical for the village to implement. Task force participants will assist with implementing approved action steps, deliverables, or artifacts. Do we want to just retain that?
here's the charter. Let's see.
Because that's pretty much the reason it was.
I don't think we want to change that. I mean,
Okay,
that, deliverables or artifacts, huh? That's a funny word.
yeah.
Jargon.
a
Pat,
little archaic, but
Yeah.
any thoughts on that?
Right. The only good word I mean, I just have an issue with artifacts too. I'm not sure what that really means.
Another word for artifacts?
I mean, deliverable, isn't a
Deliverables.
deliverable enough? I mean, it's
Yeah, I
a
think
program,
deliverable.
it's a process, it's a
Yeah.
policy, it's an action. It's a
We could-
deliverable,
we
just
could
leave
put
out
that
part
in
of
Encompasses
it.
everything.
I mean, deliverables is sort of the jargon now used by ad agencies and everybody
Okay.
else, We're
Okay.
going to give you palm cards and brochures and stickers and bumper stickers, and
Okay,
those are deliverables.
okay.
It's just a funny word.
So task force selected action steps and deliverables or artifacts created for those action steps must be approved by the Village of Lansing Board of Trustees before implementation and before submission
To NYSERDA.
to,
Oh.
is it to NYSERDA or is it to DEC?
It's to DEC. The program originally started with NYSERDA, but it's to DEC. I believe, if I remember correctly, I believe Ronnie already corrected this on the website.
I'm looking.
This is.
So,
No, it says NYSERDA on the website.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
So-
he's going to need to change that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I should say New York State DEC.
Mhm.
Okay, for review and approval.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, you can
Do I
spell
need
out
to add-
DEC the first time through
Yeah,
and then
I'll
just
spell
refer
it.
to it as DEC thereafter, because otherwise it's a
Right,
mouthful.
right.
Yeah, that's usually what people do.
Do we need to put anything in there about the coordinator?
The coordinator does not need to change unless the
No, I
coordinator.
mean, we don't need to insert that in there, okay. And then objectives, nominate members for the task force. They've got a maximum of 7.
What do we have, 4, 5? 1, 2, 3?
Right now.
You,
We just
Pat,
have-
and I, and then Ronnie.
We only have 3 members listed, and we
Okay.
have 3 liaisons listed. So is it a good idea to put a number in your experience?
I mean, it entirely depends on whether or not you guys want to have a limit on that. I mean, you guys haven't. You're not
Nobody's
close.
beating down the door.
Yeah. So we could just leave it, nominate members to the task force. We don't have to put in a maximum or minimum. Okay,
Well, I mean, the idea of the maximum was just because it gets cumbersome after a certain number, and hard to make decisions, and harder to get a quorum, and all that kind of stuff. So maybe we just leave it at 7.
leaving at 7?
Yeah, because we'll
Pat?
probably never get to 7.
Yeah, and if you do, you can always change it later on, right?
Yeah,
This is not.
it's not encumbering us at this
Right.
point, it's encouraging us to get more people.
Okay.
Really.
You're right.
Good luck, huh? Good luck with that one.
Invite liaison members from the village, surrounding municipalities, Cornell Cooperative Extension, Tompkins County Planning Department.
Who are our liaisons now?
Right now, we've got Cornell
Cooperative.
Cooperative Extension, and we've got Mike Scott, the Village Code Enforcement
Planning.
Officer. Should we have, it might be a good idea to have Planning Department,
But
Rep.
that's also, oh, planning board,
yeah, Planning Board, sorry.
yeah.
And DPW as a liaison.
Not
It's
very
interesting,
good.
it says,
Commissioner.
it invite members from the village, surrounding municipalities, Cornell Cooperative Extension, and from Tompkins County Planning Department.
So the town of Lansing also as a liaison.
Would they be interested?
Well, we could extend the invitation,
Comes out quarterly, it's not monthly, it's,
so it's invite.
and the next
Yeah.
bill comes out July 1st.
And
Okay.
and other organizations, would that be all encompassing? And other community organizations?
Although we haven't got anybody else, I mean,
No, we don't, but we could leave
we
that in
could
there.
leave it open.
Other,
Yeah.
okay.
I don't know if anybody from the planning department has the bandwidth to sit in on our
Right, it
meetings.
just means to invite, because there
Yeah.
might be a specific topic or something. I want to be mindful of our time also, sorry.
Yeah.
Propose action steps for approval by the Board of Trustees.
So the new address.
Doesn't need to
Retain
change,
that.
yeah.
Cardinal Drive,
Pat, jump in, yay or nay,
yes.
and Jerry, you too.
Where did you live before?
Track and report progress.
Wait, determine the internal and external?
Oh,
Yeah.
determine internal and external resources needed to implement each
That's
action step.
Obvious.
Yeah,
Track and
and
report.
again, holler, Pat.
Yep, well,
Okay, track and report progress of each implementation action step to the village government and to village residents.
How
So
much do
those
we,
are-
how much do we communicate to the village residents about what we're doing?
That would be at the trustee meeting,
Okay,
when you give a committee report.
okay.
Probably newsletters as well.
Does it go in the newsletter at some point,
well,
like
I
what we're
was-
doing?
We can.
Yeah,
we
get
could
to that.
Probably get to
Okay.
that, yeah. Maintain physical and/or electronic repository of action step artifacts.
We do that.
Nope. There's a,
Submit complete action step artifacts to New York State CSC for review, possible revisions and approval.
Does it go to DEC or CSC? I'm confused, like, who is?
It goes to D, oh, I see. Yeah, it goes to DEC.
Goes to
So should I
DEC.
say New York State
DEC.
DEC for review,
DEC,
yeah.
because CSC is a program
Of
under
the DEC.
DEC.
Right.
Correct, yep.
Okay, so get rid of CSC and just put DEC?
Yeah,
And I would just end that sentence after approval.
I'm sorry?
I would end that sentence after approval. Take out of the
And
artifacts.
approval?
you probably dealt with.
Okay.
that in the past.
Yeah, because it's redundant.
for approval, yeah.
Yeah. Develop and maintain a village web presence for tracking and reporting implementation action steps.
What do they mean by a web presence? Is that something that the public has access to, or is that just that we're tracking all the work we do in some electronic way?
Good question.
I mean, that almost, a web presence sort of makes it sound like you're out there. What does that mean?
So I sort of interpret that as, so that's a public interface. It's communicating with the public through the website. How are you guys? Jerry?
That's how I'm taking it as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think Ronnie's done a good job of that. He's
Yeah.
posting updates.
Okay, that's fine, we got it,
Deliverables, this task force charter.
got it.
List of CSC action steps, so it should be, well, we can leave CSC action steps, right?
Mhm.
Because that's what they are.
Yeah,
And their status related to the village CSC program and task force. Physical and/or electronic artifacts required for implementation. Okay. Status reports to the village board of trustees on a schedule or as-needed basis. Village CSC web pages with online electronic artifacts and status tracking information. That's the Excel sheet, those 10 Excel sheets. How about we add an annual report?
is it required? Is it something that, is that one of our deliverables that we're expected to do?
Jerry, somewhere I seem to recall, it's not
It's not,
required.
okay. Well, let's not add it if we don't have to.
Just keep it sometimes it's useful to have just an annual report for summarizing everything that happened for the year. What are your thoughts, Pat?
That's not a bad idea.
Maybe as a presentation to the board,
Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
this is how
very-
much progress we've made
Annual
overall.
progress
Yeah.
report, how about, would that be reasonable?
Yeah.
Report to the board.
Definitely, all these names are going to have to change.
So members, right now, it's Ronnie is task force co-chair and CSC coordinator.
Is he a co-chair
Yeah,
with you?
that's how the organizational meeting.
Right now, it says he's the chair. And you got the co in there,
But
okay, yeah,
with the resolution that went through, he
changed
he
that.
changed it to
Okay.
co-chair. We need to get rid of Randy
And Simon,
and Simon and actually substitute Lynn instead of Simon.
and I'm not a liaison then, because it has me listed under the
Well,
liaisons.
Board of Zoning Appeals
Yeah.
representative.
That's me.
And then Mike would be retained. we cross out Lynn because she's already there. And then Darby,
Darby.
Terry, Brian, Catherine, Andrew, and Brian are no longer and haven't been. So,
Cross them off.
right, so
But
it
then
would
does
be Jerry,
Jerry and your successor,
and then the
right.
successor, when she comes on, it
Ashley.
would be Ashley. But right now, we'll just leave it at Jerry. Or should we be including Ashley also?
I would leave it until Ashley comes in afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay,
wait until she's
Otherwise-
here.
Yeah.
now is Chris still?
Yeah, Chris will be if you want him to be listed as a liaison, he'll still be around. So
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Chris
All
Koski?
right, so we'll leave Jerry and Chris. We'll put in Jerry and Chris there. I noticed they're on one page, but then they didn't get put in the charter.
Are there any other
then-
village residents?
And
that-
then, so we've only got 3 liaisons then. So we need outreach to try to get a few more village residents who are interested in working on this. This is a question I'd have for Jody, but we could have just a generic application with committees. That people who are interested could just complete or contact the village.
For this?
Yeah. Kind of, here are the openings for boards and for committees.
I think that's
Which ones
always
are you
been in the
interested
newsletter, isn't it?
It's been in the
They
newsletter.
usually, like, we need a person, we're desperate for the Board of Zoning Appeals. We're missing everybody except Roy and I. You left, Pat.
Did
You deserted the ship and now it's sinking.
John Weiser leave too?
What?
John Weiser leave too?
John is not well. He's been really ill, and it doesn't look like he can even rejoin us until maybe end of August, September, so we're not counting on him. I mean, we might just have to find a replacement. So if you know of anybody who's interested in BZA, Mike was saying there might be some people who want to get on the planning board, but you're already at capacity for planning board, and so maybe they could serve on the BZA temporarily until a planning board position opens up. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
So meeting
Let's look at
times.
Okay.
So are we okay now with the last Thursday of the month, 1 to 2 PM, so people can kind of plan their schedules?
That's okay with me.
Jerry?
Should work for me in most cases.
Okay,
Yeah.
and Jerry, that's okay with you?
It's okay with me.
Okay, so I'll get rid of 3rd, and I'll put last Thursday of the month and I'll get rid of 6 to 8 PM and put 1 to 2. All right. And then meeting agenda and minutes, solicit agenda items from the task force members before the meeting, prepare the agenda and distribute no less than 24 hours before the meeting, capture, review, and approve minutes from the task force meetings. Anything else you want to add there? No. I mean, I shouldn't say no. Anything else you want to add there?
No,
Okay. Communication channels, and this is your forte, Pat. We've got email, agenda, meeting minutes, artifacts for review to members, liaisons, trustees, and clerk. Webpage, task force details, agenda, meeting minutes, artifacts, status tracking. I added recording of minutes, meetings. I can't talk.
It's okay.
Should we, or just leave that out?
meeting minutes is listed on the webpage
That's true.
and email. I would add biannual newsletter.
I'm sorry?
I would add biannual newsletter.
Oh, good idea. And then it says New York State. Should this be CSC or DEC, Jerry? Approved action step
Would be
artifact.
CSC because they were talking about the actions in that.
Yeah, it says approve, so New York State CSC approved action step artifacts submitted by CSC coordinator for
For
CSC
DEC,
review.
for
So
DEC review and approval.
for, okay, New York State DEC.
No, so the first New York State CSC is referring to the actions, which is fine.
Okay,
That last CSC right before review will be DEC instead because DEC is the one that reviews the program.
okay, okay, okay. So I think we've got that.
And then I just want to mention I do have to leave at 2 because I have another meeting.
I'm sorry?
I'll have to leave right on 2 because I have another meeting to attend.
Oh, okay. We've got 1 minute, so the next meeting will be.
Right. I'm looking at July, and that was
July 31, 1 to 2.
Ooh, and I won't
That
be
was
here.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll be in Woods Hole,
okay.
but that,
Pat and Jerry?
that works for me.
Yep,
Okay,
works for me.
okay. Okay. So between now and then, we need to comp plan input because it's on the 7th, it goes to the
those are the trustees.
trustees.
Okay.
But then the whole thing goes for discussion at the joint planning board and trustee meeting on the 21st. I think it's the 21st. Whatever the third Monday is of July. Okay. Shall we adjourn?
Sure.
Or is there any, I said announcements and stuff, and I realize you do have to go, Jerry, for your meeting. Any announcements of anything that you want to?
No, I think we're all set.
Oh, well, you're awesome, so thank you. Thank you
No,
for
thanks for
coming.
having me.
Thank you. So bye, have a good meeting.
Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you, bye.
You know, too. Thank you.
Okay, see you.
Bye, Pat.
Bye.
Bye.
The comprehensive plan. Is this it? Planning for land use in the village of Lansing.
Stop it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
End it.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jody.